Well, welcome to our Free Society podcast. Today, we are excited to spotlight our program here at Hannibal LaGrange University. What is Free Society? It is a unique initiative here on campus that equips students to think deeply about the meaning of freedom, both in history, in politics, and in culture. We do this through an interdisciplinary approach, and the program really helps students to explore how ideas of liberty have shaped societies, why those ideas matter, and how we can thoughtfully engage them from a biblical worldview. The three pillars of our Free Society program are limited government, free market economics, and cultural institutions like the church. So to help us dive into this conversation today on our Free Society podcast, we're excited to be joined by Dr. John Wisley. He is a professor at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. He is a historian. He is an author known for his work on American identity, civil religion, and the intersection of Christianity and public life. He has a new book out called Religious Liberty, which I encourage you to go to Amazon and to pick that up as soon as possible. But Dr. Wilsey brings a wealth of insight into how freedom has been understood in the past and how Christians can thoughtfully engage it in the present. So Dr. Wilsey, it is an honor to have you with us today. Welcome.
Thanks for letting me be here. It's a great honor to be with you.
We also have with us Mr. Ayer, who's the chair of our business department. And so we'll be kind of just having a conversation here today, just talking amongst one another and just really directing the conversation around freedom, about free markets, also about free speech especially. I do want to begin today, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, based on the events of this last week with, as some are calling it, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Some are even throwing around the term martyr. Just to get your thoughts on what it means for our country right now, where we are, and more importantly, what this is going to mean for free speech going forward and liberty in the future. So just want to turn that over to you and just kind of get your thoughts. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Both not only as a Christian, but as a historian, someone who has studied the Constitution, studied free speech, studied liberty, all the things that Charlie tried to embody. So just your thoughts on that, just briefly as we begin.
Well, Charlie Kirk's death is a great tragedy, an unspeakable tragedy, unbelievable. It's going to be, I think, a moment in the life of young people that they'll remember where they were when they heard the news, kind of like September 11th or the Challenger disaster or John F. Kennedy's assassination. It's a generational tragedy that I think a lot of young folks especially remember where they were. It's a great tragedy, but it's also an opportunity for our society as a nation. And we are free people. And that means that we get to choose what kind of a society we want. So we're not determined by events. Mm-hmm. We can create the culture that we want to have. And as Christians, we have a particular responsibility to lead the way on that. Mm. It's very encouraging to see, especially young people that gather for prayer vigils. It's really great to see him being honored in venues like, for example, the New York Yankees. It's incredible. So there's a lot of signs of hope. There's a lot of troubling signs as well. But I think those troubling signs are, while they're disturbing and they're bad, and they should be repudiated, I think they're more visible because of the ubiquity of social media.
Right.
And that everybody gets to have, everybody already had an opinion about it, but everybody already has a bullhorn. Everybody has a platform to speak and articulate the inner recesses of their deepest thoughts. And I think that's I don't think that that's great for our society.
Right.
So those are some of my thoughts.
Yeah, even today, I think this is just as things really are moving quickly, right? With this situation, not just with the investigation, but also just what this means for speech in our country. And even today, I mean, you're seeing even conservatives disagree on where hate speech, what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say, and where's the line where you can prosecute. So the Attorney General Pam Bondi came out very boldly today, publicly, and said, if you are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death or you are professing hate speech, then we're going to look at prosecuting you. And it was interesting because Matt Walsh chimed back on social media and said, no, we like hate speech, as awful as it is, people are still free to say awful things apart from prosecution. So just curious on your thoughts on where that line is, right? And how, we need to maybe tread carefully where liberty is concerned, because whatever decisions we make now, right, with respect to where the lines are, will affect us as Christians.
Right.
Right?
Right. Well, in the First Amendment, we have 5 freedoms that are listed: freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to voluntarily associate, and freedom to petition. Religious freedom is the first of these on purpose.
Yeah.
Because from religious freedom flow all the other freedoms.
Right.
So whatever happens with free speech is going to have an effect on religion and religious people.
Absolutely.
And our freedom to be able to exercise our convictions in the public square. So it is very important that we get this right, and that we don't just jettison the best of American traditions because one bad thing happened. Was it a bad thing? Absolutely. It was a generationally bad thing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we take drastic steps that are going to put us on an entirely different direction and detach us from our traditions.
Yeah, my son, I'll bounce it to Mr. Aaron here in just a second, but my son, who's 23, young male, conservative, lives in Florida, right? He made the comment to me that Dad, you don't realize what this is going to do to mobilize my generation of young male conservatives to be actively involved in politics. Like they're angry, of course, but they're not burning down cities. They're not
right.
looting and rioting.
Right.
They're saying, we're going to open a turning point chapter here, or we're going to do this. And so that's an encouraging sign.
It is.
Out of all of this to me.
Very much so. It's a testimony too.
It's a testimony to Charlie, right? And to his legacy.
It really is.
He leaves behind. And
yep.
I know Mr. Ayer has a question before we move on along from Charlie Kirk, but he has a question about this as well.
A couple of thoughts on this. Number one, I heard someone say that they looked at Charlie Kirk as an older brother. And I think that's the motivation behind maybe what you're seeing with a lot of the young people all throughout the world. We're seeing it in Brazil. We're seeing it everywhere.
Yep.
Going back to the free speech side, because we're looking into people that are openly calling to kill conservatives, to kill Christians. They're openly doing it now any way that actually contradicts what their world vision is. Where do we find that happy medium there on free speech, and do we ever find that? Or are we tempted to lose our free speech? Because they used to call, it's a political cycle. They will call our speech, reading the Bible, as hate speech. Where are we at on that? Are we ever going to find ground on that?
Well, I think it's important for us to first lay out what do we mean when we say freedom of speech? What does that mean? And it might mean that we might be able to come up with 3 different definitions, but I think we can all agree on this essential feature of what freedom is. Freedom entails responsibility. And when you speak and say something, especially when you say it publicly on a social media platform, there are going to be consequences for what you say. Right. They could be good consequences.
Yeah.
They could also be bad. And, if someone goes online, say a school teacher or a nurse or a college professor, and spews hateful stuff about Charlie Kirk, glad he got shot in the way he did, and talk about all his death and celebrate it. And you hold a position of responsibility over young people, for example, or you hold a position of responsibility in people's health, then what you say has direct consequences.
Absolutely.
And they should face the consequences and own their words. And if they get fired from their job, they get fired from their job, and they're going to have to own that, and can't complain about it if that happens to them, because they went on and they were a free person. They spoke freely. Now you got to own it. I mean, that you have freedom when you have responsibility for what you say. You have freedom of speech when you have responsibility for what you say.
Well said.
Yeah, that's good. In that same vein, when I knew you were coming to campus, this has been a couple weeks ago. There was a hearing in the Senate, and Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia said this in front of the entire room, and you may know what I'm going to ask here, but I'm going to read his quote, and I just want to get your thoughts on it. He said, "The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the Creator. That's what the Iranian government believes. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling." So if Tim Kaine were sitting here, which he never would be, but if he were, what would your rebuttal be there as a constitutionalist, as thinking about religious liberty, law, rule of law, those sorts of things? Where's Tim Kaine? We know he's wrong, but where is he really wrong here?
It's hard to even know where to start. If Tim Kaine were here at our table and we were sitting around, I would do my very best to appeal to him as like a fellow citizen, a fellow human being, and try to patiently engage him. But his thinking is so skewed by, number one, obviously just secularism,
right,
and two, a yawning, gaping ignorance of American history. In response, one rebuttal that he received was from Ted Cruz, who quoted the Declaration of Independence. Okay.
Here it is.
This is literally the founding document here, and the very basis for our entire identity. And you have a stunning lack of awareness of what you're talking about. And he's a United States senator. He could have been vice president.
Exactly.
And
scary thought.
That's a scary
president at some point.
Do you think that like you think about secular progressives, and you think about the movement of secular progressives in the country, tracing all the way back to the 1960s, and so Tim Kaine's saying this, and it's quite shocking.
It's very stunning. Yeah, shocking.
But do you think like they've always thought this way, or are they just saying the quiet part out loud right now?
No, I don't think.
Or has this been a development?
Right.
Has this been a development?
It's something that's developed. I think that, beginning in the late 50s, early 60s, Western civilization was taken out of the college curriculum of a lot of state schools, universities. I think it started on the West Coast, ends up being taken out of a lot of curricula all over the country. American history, civics, gone through years of just this being ignored and neglected in secondary education and in college education. Students aren't required to take American history. Now, Tim Kaine's, he's a little bit older, but he's not. He's probably of an age when he would not have needed. I don't know what he took in college, but he might have gotten away with not having to take these classes and understand Western and American tradition.
Right.
Not only just what's stated explicitly in the Declaration of Independence, but also like the concept of natural law versus positive law, or the history of how positive law has influenced American jurisprudence since Oliver Wendell Holmes. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to know those things necessarily, but I can say I think that in the 1960s and 1970s, liberals of that day would. I'm just trying to think of an example of someone, but I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. But I do think that is a consequence of secularism and a consequence of the effort to completely turn our back on tradition, the past, wisdom from the past, because the past is seen by so many as being, this is where oppression is, this is where ignorance is, superstition, and we just need to be done with it all. And so we'll turn the page and we'll build our utopias without any reference to the past. It's a living expression of a Marxist view of tradition.
It sounds like what happened in the 19th century in a little town in Germany called Tübingen, right? With respect to the Bible, right? Like we'll turn our back on superstition,
exactly,
and we'll demythologize the Bible,
because
we are now enlightened and man is the center of everything, And so it seems like for guys like Tim Kaine, maybe this is more of we could decry it as kind of a woeful ignorance.
It's a woeful
rather
ignorance,
than an intentional ignorance in some respects. Like they are in their own echo chamber, so to speak, of secular progressivism.
Yep.
And so it's shocking when he says things like that, but then it's like it's so ridiculously egregious of history. That it's so easy. It's like a softball to Ted Cruz.
It's like a softball.
It
kind of reminds me of that. Remember that when Joe Biden was giving that speech years ago, and he was trying to reach for a quote from the Declaration of Independence, and he said it like, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, and we have life, liberty," and he stumbled around. He said, the thing.
The thing.
He was reaching for help from the crowd.
The thing.
It's just like, again, I mean, totally. There's just this black hole in his head with regard to American history. He has no clue what he's talking about, and yet,
right.
We've lost true history.
This is what happens when our leaders have no idea what our history is and where our traditions come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Ayer, you want to chime in on a question?
Sure.
Here?
I'm listening about the conversation about Tim Kaine, and I'm like, this is he's just one part of the pie of the bigger picture.
Oh, yeah.
For a certain party, and I think that there has been obviously there's been review of a history and a change of history, and so you have like the 1619 Project,
right,
which is proven wrong, and it's obviously an attack. I think it's an evil attack. And we need to stand guard on truth and liberty. And I think it's more important than ever. What do you think about? Any thoughts on that?
I have thoughts on lots of things, and I do have thoughts on that. Thank the Lord for people like Alan Gelzo and Gordon Wood and Victoria Bynum, great American historians who critiqued in a very methodical, historical, academic, respectful, but very clear ways in print in a whole variety of places to demonstrate the leftist and critical theory agenda behind the entire project and discrediting the whole thing.
Yep.
So we just have to thank God for these men and women who had the courage, especially at the time. 2019, 2020, 2021, took a lot of courage to do that. It was potentially career killing for those people.
Absolutely. Thinking on the topic of religious liberty and us trying to engage the culture, right, and trying to engage them with the gospel and trying to engage them with objective truth in a post-truth society that we live in, where truth is based on feelings,
right?
Having a free debate about the ideas. I wonder, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. So I talk in my worldview class about, like, there were two books that were written years ago. One by a guy named George Orwell, 1984.
I know the book.
Right, you know the book. You had to read it, right? You're a child of the 80s. You read it as well.
I also listened to the Van Halen album.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah. Might as well jump. So, right, well, they're looking
good
at
one.
us like we're crazy. Like, what? Who's Van Halen?
Van Halen. And we're like, which singer? Who was the lead
Exactly.
singer?
Which
Yeah.
one?
That's key.
Or I talked with them about the Orwellian view versus the Huxleyan view. So Huxley writes this book, Brave New World, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think Neil Postman's book is a great follow-up, Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone should read that book as thinking about critiquing culture, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I know what I think as a worldview professor, as a teacher worldview. I'm curious your thoughts. Do you think that whose vision has come to fruition here? Is it Orwell or is it Huxley?
Well, I with your permission,
Yeah.
I think I should take a whole different track.
Okay.
I don't think either one of those.
Either one. Okay.
I mean, I think that they certainly are influential.
Yeah.
And there's certainly things we can see from their books that, oh yeah, I can recognize that in our society. But I'm going to go with an Isaiah Berlin.
Okay.
A British intellectual historian, wrote a book called The Roots of Romanticism.
Right.
If you don't want to read the book, you can go watch on a little channel I like to call YouTube.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that?
Just a little
have.
channel.
Yeah, it's a little
have.
channel.
It's a
And you can
small
watch all of his lectures
Okay.
that the book is based on. But he says, and I think he's absolutely right, that Romanticism is the most consequential movement of the modern period.
Interesting.
I could see
Why,
that.
why does he say that?
Well, because one of the reasons is his what's your podcast is all about. It's understanding, it's redefinition of what freedom is. So in the romantic matrix, if you will, paradigm, freedom is defined as breaking free from limits, emancipation from limits, also fulfilling your potential,
okay.
your individual personal potential. So how often have you heard this or something like this said? You can go out and you can change the world.
Yeah.
A lot.
Or yes, or
A lot.
or how about this one? You can be anything you want to be.
Oh, that one gets me.
And I mean, when I was a kid, our teachers would say those things, and we all kind of knew what they meant. Like
Yeah.
if you want to go out and you want to be a banker, you can do that.
do that.
Or maybe you want to become governor of the state someday. You can work hard, and it's possible.
Yeah. With hard work, education.
It might not work out, but
Maybe.
it could happen.
Sure.
An actor was president, when I was in high school. So
Right. Me too. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But see, now that is taken to mean you can be anything you want. Well, I'm a boy, so I can be a girl now if I want to be. I mean, I can be literally anything I want. Now, you can look at me and you can look at, say, not exactly LeBron James. Okay?
Right.
Yep.
I mean, y'all have just met me, and you can look at me and my skills in basketball just by looking at me. It doesn't matter how much I want to be in the NBA.
Right. I thought you were going to say Michael Jordan because, I mean, who's better?
He is the GOAT.
I mean, he would be our go-to guy, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way. There's no way I'm ever going to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be a fighter pilot. I'm never going to fly like an F-35.
Sure.
It's just never going to happen. It's just not in my skill set. I'm not physically built that way.
But you can identify as that. Right?
But in the American tradition, what does freedom mean? Well, freedom is the ability that we have as individuals and as local societies, starting with the family, to pursue the true, the good, and the beautiful according to our own lights, without any coercion from a government, from a state, and informed by the Bible, informed by Christianity and Christian tradition. And it's ordered. It has to be ordered by just law and a just order. So liberty is not possible without order, without limits. We don't have absolute freedom. But in Romanticism, the idea is that no, you have freedom to burst the bonds of limitations.
It's
because limits are
limitless, right?
Yeah, because limits are seen as being bad.
Yeah.
But if we're faithful to our American tradition and Christian tradition, we know that limits they're good. They're for our
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have $1 million. Would I like to have $1 million? Yeah, but, I heard somebody said, the only thing worse than getting the thing that you really, really, really want is having the thing you really, really want.
True.
I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, what is the story with every person who wins the giant lottery?
Yeah.
Like after 5 years, they're bankrupt.
Brokenness.
Yeah. And their whole family is destroyed. And
Brokenness, yeah.
so the limits we have on our bank accounts right now, that teaches us patience. It teaches us stewardship. It teaches us to take the long view of things. I mean, limits teach virtue. And that's what really makes us free, is when we are virtuous people, which is entirely different from what romanticism puts forth as what freedom is. And I tend to agree with Isaiah Berlin on that.
It sounds a little bit like, I think Judge Bork in his book, Slouching Towards Gomorrah, has a chapter on romanticism. And I love what he said. I mean, he wrote in the early 90s, that book.
Yep.
And I still quote today to my students his quote that it's fine to have a discussion a debate in our culture about where the walls of morality lie, but it is cultural suicide to demand all space and no walls.
Beautiful.
That's Bork, right? I mean, just how he traces where we are, even with respect to abortion or racism or freedom, all of the above. And it's almost semi-prophetic. In a way. So I do want to get to talk about your new book.
Thanks.
So book's entitled Religious Liberty, published through...
It's Erdman's. It's actually entitled Religious Freedom.
Religious Freedom, sorry, I had it wrong.
And
Religious
the subtitle is A Conservative Primer.
A conservative, you say primer? Not primer, that's the right scholarly way.
Primer is what you put on the wall before you paint it.
Primer. That's a good word. Yeah, it's a good word. So tell us what led you to write the book, sort of the motivation behind it. Tell us a little bit about what it's about, but don't tell us too much because we want our listeners to buy it.
That's right.
So don't give spoiler alert. Don't give it away completely.
Well, I tell people I don't even really care if you don't read it. Just buy it.
Just buy it. Yeah, it's the purchase that counts as an author, right?
No, I'm teasing. I want you to read it.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the book the book has roots that go back about 15 years, and what the book ended up being is really the culmination of things I've been thinking about for most of my adult life. The book might have you believe that it's a treatise on religious freedom, and it's really not. It's really a book about how to think about religious freedom like a conservative. So I talk about what is conservatism and how is conservatism applied to the imagination, to the nation, to ideas about freedom, to how we do history, and how we think about religion itself. And all these things end up to conservatism and religious freedom, and how we think about religious freedom in a conservative way. And that's what the book is about. And my thesis of the book is that conservatives in America today are in the best position to maintain a tradition that has lasted in America since the colonial period of harmony between what Alexis de Tocqueville called the spirit of liberty and the spirit of religion.
Okay. People should read it.
I think so.
Yeah. Mr. Ayer, before we close today and close out our time, do you have any final thoughts or any final questions for Dr. Wilsey?
So I want to take this conversation in so many different directions, but I know we don't have time because being a conservative Christian myself and a free market person and an econ guy, I love to talk about this in class, but I get you in my class tomorrow morning.
That's right.
No economics questions in this venue.
Please don't.
Yeah,
Please be merciful.
No,
merciful. I mean, Dr. Wilsey is an Acton Fellow, right?
Are you going to ask me about the Laffer curve or anything like that?
Yeah, anything like that.
I could.
You could. Please.
Ronald Reagan would be smiling if I did that, right?
He's smiling right now.
Yeah.
It's good.
No, this has been just a pleasure. It's a pleasure to get to meet you. I'm looking forward to reading your book. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been our pleasure. And thank you for tuning in and listening to our Free Society program, Free Society podcast. If If you want more information on our Free Society program here at HLG, you can find that on our website. Dr. Wilsey will be with us tomorrow morning in chapel at 11 a.m., and so that is open to the public. And so if you want to come and hear him speak or look it up later, it will be on our website as well. Excited to have him for our Constitution Day tomorrow. So again, thank you, Dr. Wilsey, and it's a pleasure just sitting down with you and having a conversation.
Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.